When humans first looked at the stars, they didn't see money. They saw mystery. But today, space is no longer just science. It's an industry worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So how did we go from rockets and flags to profits, contracts, and billionaires? This is the history of space economics. The space race. Economics begins with politics, 1950s to 1960s. Space economics began during the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union invested massive money not for profit, but for power and prestige. Governments funded rockets, satellites, astronaut programs. There was no return on investment. Space was a cost, not a business. But something important was created. Launch technology, satellite communication, global monitoring systems. The foundation of future space markets was born. Satellites become commercial. 1970s to 1980s. In the 1970s, space took its first economic step. Communication satellites were used for television broadcasts, international phone calls. Weather forecasting private companies entered space for the first time. Satellites became products, services, sources of revenue. This marked the moment space stopped being only political and started becoming commercial. Global navigation and the digital economy. 1990s. The 1990s changed everything. The launch of GPS and other navigation systems connected space directly to daily life. Suddenly, ships navigated using satellites. Airplanes depended on space. Financial systems required satellite timing. Space quietly became essential to the global economy. Most people didn't notice, but modern capitalism became dependent on orbit. The private space revolution, 2000s. For decades, governments controlled space. Then private companies arrived. Entrepreneurs believed space could be cheaper, rockets could be reused, launches could be frequent. This era saw the rise of SpaceX new launch startups. Commercial space contracts, space transformed from a government monopoly into a competitive market. The era of mega-constellations, 2010s. In the 2010s, satellites multiplied. Instead of a few large satellites, companies launched thousands of small ones. This enabled global internet coverage, faster data transmission, new business models. Orbits became crowded. Space economics now included regulation, insurance, risk management. Space was no longer empty. Space tourism and branding, 2020s. In the 2020s, space became a luxury experience. Private citizens flew beyond Earth. Not scientists, customers. Space tourism proved. Space could be sold. Space could be marketed. Space could be branded. It also showed how far commercialization had gone. Conclusion. A new chapter in human history. Space economics didn't begin with billionaires. It began with fear, competition, and politics. But over decades, space slowly transformed into a marketplace. The next chapter of history may not be written on Earth, but among the stars. Don't forget to subscribe and like for more videos like this.